Daniel was a dragon. He was a destroyer dragon. His whole family and his whole clan, all they did was destroy, maim, pillage, eat people, sheep, goats, horses, not so much dogs. But Daniel was a little different. Daniel hadn't destroyed or pillaged anything other than a meal. He would eat, but he just wasn't in the pillaging type of mind frame. Wasn't Daniel. So Sally, Charlie, that just wasn't him. Well, one evening, I found himself. He'd been flying around looking for something that he said he was going to pillage. Not that we believed him. And he.
Tell what pillage means.
The peanut gallery over on the side here says, what does pillage mean? Pillage means destroy, ransack, tear down, burn, and otherwise just take a village and make it no longer exist. That is pillage. Steal everything you can, eat everything you can, and everything that's left you just destroy to the point where there is nothing left. That is pillage. So,
yeah.
Daniel, you're good with that? Okay, good.
She's good with that.
Okay, she's good with that.
I'm good with that. Thank you.
All right. So, Daniel, he was hiding up on the tallest tower of this castle, trying to take a nap. And, you know, he's up there, he's brown. The castle's kind of brown. The shingles are kind of brown. He's just sort of laying up there, wrapped around, trying to take a nap, hoping nobody sees him up there. You know, and as high up as he is, yeah, people probably ain't going to be looking up there anyway. Well, he's there taking a nap, and he hears something from the window. And it sounds like somebody is not happy. Somebody is chained up and waking up, and they are upset. They are not happy where they are. Now, Daniel, being a destroyer dragon, could really give two hoots about that. Yeah, okay, not my problem. Well, then he hears people coming up the stairs. And he hears people talking. These are half a dozen guys coming up, clinkety, 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 clinkety. Now, some of them are in armor, some of them ain't. And, okay. Well, if they can't see me, I don't care. Leave me alone. I'm not bothering anybody. Then they walk into the room, and you hear the two people talking to what appears to be a lady chained to the bed. And you have Princess Millie. And Princess Millie is from a different kingdom, from a desert kingdom, over here in the forest right now. Doesn't really belong there. Not really happy about being there, but she's been kidnapped. And she is there. And here comes Sir Tom, Prince, asshole, just, general, not nice person. His father, Sir Sam, owner of the castle, lord of the lands, not a nice guy either, but yeah, it is what it is. And they are talking to Princess Millie and said, you will marry my son, and that will form an alliance between your kingdom and my kingdom. Because once your daddy finds out you're married to my son, he's not going to have much of a choice. Millie is not really enthused with all this. She just said, she's not seeing this. She said, nah, this ain't happening. I ain't doing this. And Sir Sam was talking to Sir Tom, father talking to son, says, well, what you need to do is just go ahead and pretend that you're married. Do what you need to do to get her with child. You can figure that out on your own. And then, well, then there won't be no choice but for them to get married, and whether she agrees to it or not, she's only a lady. She's only a girl. Nobody cares what her opinion is. Nobody cares what her opinion is. She's the princess. Nobody cares. We're going to do what we want to do. She gets pregnant. We get married. Everybody's good, right? No, doesn't work that way. Daniel hears this while he's sitting there on the roof and says, I don't like people, don't like the sound of these two clowns, but I am not going to stand around and let them abuse somebody that doesn't want to be abused, take advantage of somebody, and just be general dinks. Just not, no, I've got a little bit more heart and a little bit more compassion than that. So he sticks his head through the window. Now, granted, it just barely fits. Big old dragon, is what it is. But he sticks his head in the window and he growls. And of course, when he growls, he gets everybody's attention. And they're looking at the dragon, and dragon says, let the princess go. Well, they say no, they ain't gonna let her go. And here come the two royal guards, all in armor, clinkety 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 clink. And they come running up there. Well, Daniel, he is a destroyer dragon, not much of a pillager, not much of a guy. He's looking at these two royal guards coming up here and says, well, shoot, what do I do with these? So he makes out a big roar. Well, that big loud roar of his, he sits there and knocks these two down the stairway. Clinkety, 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 clink. And you can hear him rattling all the way down the stairs till he hit the bottom. Clunk! And there go the two royal guards. And then he looks at Sir Tom, and he looks at Sir Sam, and he says, your turn! And even though they got these great big titles and wearing these great big swords, yeah, no, they ain't in the, courage and bravery just not in their, DNA, the cowards. They start trying to run off. He sits there and blows at them, and they go clinking down the stairs, clinkety, clinkety, clink, clink, all the way to the bottom, crash, crunch. Well, the rest of the guards on the wall and down in the courtyard, they hear this commotion. Kind of hard not to hear, people rattling as they go clinkety, clunkety down the stairs. So they start yelling and screaming and, lighting the torches, shooting arrows at Daniel, who's, wait a minute, I didn't sign up for this. But he forces himself into the room at the top of the tower. Now, while doing that, he pretty much tears up the window, the door, and the roof. The tower's pretty much trashed by now. And he's looking at Princess Millie. Princess Millie is looking at him with eyes about that big, saying, oh shit, this dragon's going to eat me. And Daniel's thinking to himself, princess. If I kidnap a princess, that hasn't been done in a couple of 100 years. My family and my clan and all these dragons going to think I is the number one dragon. I will be able to get something out of this because I'll sell her back to daddy. I'm not going to do anything to her, but I'll sell her back to daddy for some gold coin, get my hoard going, get a reputation of a big tough dragon. This is looking good for me. So he's looking at Millie, and she's chained to the badge, and what do we do about this? I don't want to hurt the lady. So, being the big dragon, he just tears the bed apart, grabs her, and starts flying off with her. Now, unfortunately, he didn't do a real good job tearing the bed up. And when he jumped off the roof with her in his hands to start flying off, he kind of underestimated the weight of the bed. And it started dragging his ass down to the ground. Now, of course, on the ground is a whole bunch of guards and knights and other people who just don't want to see a dragon, don't want to see him, and don't want to see him stealing their princess. It's not their princess. They stole her fair and square as far as they're concerned. Well, he starts trying to escape, and he crashes through the wall, crashes into a couple of houses, lands in town next to a cow. He looks at this cow and says, okay, well, I'm hungry. There's lunch. Woof! Barbecued beef. Takes a couple bites of the cow after he barbecues it. gets a little bit of strength back. Millie is still there in his claws, screaming like a banshee, saying, "Let me go." Daniel just sort of looks at us, "Yeah, no, I'm hanging on to you." And he flies off. He's managed to break the bed up a little bit more after going through the wall and a couple of buildings. That sort of tore some of the stuff up, and he's able to fly off. And he flies for a little bit, and then realizes, "Lady, you skinny, but you heavy. Or this bed's heavy, something." So he's flying around, he looks, and he sees a blacksmith shop. "That's what I'm looking for." And he lands at the blacksmith. And the blacksmith, he's in there doing his little thing, clink, clink, clink. And he hears a disturbance outside, and his dogs are barking. Dragons don't like dogs, they're not going to eat the dog. But the blacksmith comes out, and he sees this dragon. And he sees this princess with chains on. And the blacksmith's wife comes out of the house. She heard the noise too. She comes out with a frying pan, starts to wave it at the dragon. And the blacksmith says, "Whoa, honey, stop here. This is a dragon. We don't want to irritate him." So Daniel says, "Okay, they think I'm a mean dragon. I'm going to play this up a little bit." "Blacksmith." "Yes, dragon." "Such a deal I got for you. You are going to take these chains off this princess. You are going to feed the princess. I've already eaten. But if that dog don't stop barking, I may make an example out of him. If you don't take these chains off the princess and feed the princess, I will burn your house down, burn your blacksmith shop down. We got an understanding here, bud?" And the blacksmith, not being very smart, but not being very dumb either, realizes, mad dragon. No house, no business, no dog. Yeah. Hey, dragon, we can come to an understanding here. I'll take these chains off. I'll feed the princess. You go away. Don't burn nothing down. Everybody's happy. So, wife, go get food for princess. Princess, come here. Clink, clink, clink. One chain off. Clink, clink, clink. Two chains off. Clink, clink, clink. Three chains off. Clink, clink, clink. Four chains off. All the chains are off. One on each arm, one on each leg. Four chains. That's three, get four chains. Wife comes back, brings food for princess. Princess eats food. Princess is happy now. Dragon grabs princess and says, "Hasta la vista, we're off. See, I did not burn down your blacksmith shop or your house, and I did not eat your dog." So they go flying back, and Daniel says, "Well, where am I going? Where are you from, princess?" Princess says, "I am from the desert kingdom of Sahara." "Well, tell you what we gonna do. We gonna go to my house first. I got a nice little cave up here, and we gonna discuss some things. You is my prisoner. You is my captive. I have otherwise acquired you. You belong to me. Well, I don't want to go back to my kingdom because my daddy was mean to me." He said, "Well, okay, fine. I'll hang on to you for a while. We'll figure something out." And they went to Daniel's cave, and Daniel found some food and some clothes for the princess. And they're there, they're talking. Daniel's an educated dragon. Daniel paints and he reads and he writes and he likes poetry. And his cave has got a couple of bedrooms in it and a nice little room where he paints and does his artwork. And you go out the back little hole of the cave and he's got a nice little lake there to take a bath in and drink in. And, Princess Millie saying, "Hey, this ain't so bad. I might kind of like being here with this, dragon." And then here comes Glenn. Glenn is Daniel's brother. Now, Glenn is a great big, how would you call it, bag of wind. He is a destroyer dragon. He will go out and destroy stuff and eat things. And just, basically make a nuisance of himself to people.
He's a bully.
But one thing he has never done is capture a princess. And nobody has captured a princess in about 400 years. But that, per the clan rules and per dragonkind rules, capturing a princess is a number one activity. You do that, you come to the top of everybody's list. So Daniel, who was really at the bottom of everybody's list because he didn't pillage, he didn't burn stuff. Oh, when he captured a princess, that was pretty cool. Well, Glenn thought, hey, I'm going to steal the princess, say, I captured the princess, and I will move up, and ain't nobody going to believe Daniel captured the princess. They just ain't going to buy that. So when Glenn tried to grab the princess, well, Princess pulled out a knife and stabbed Glenn right in the eyeball. Ah, ooh, ah! And now Glenn is minus one eye, one big attitude, and he decides this princess ain't worth it. I'm leaving. Daniel is over in the corner laughing. He's like, ha ha ha, that'll teach you, you dumbass. And then here comes George and Shirley. These are Daniel and Glenn's parents. They are a little upset that Glenn got hurt. Glenn was the favorite, obviously, because he did all these dragon things. Where, Daniel just wasn't that big a dragon in everybody's book. And then they realized, ooh, you captured a princess. You're moving up in the world. Well, yeah, I got a princess. I'm going to keep her. She's mine. What do I do now? Because this ain't happened in 400 years. They weren't sure what to do. So they're sitting there, they're talking. Millie's there, just cooking, eating, just having basically a good time. She's liking living with the dragon. And then they said, well, we got to come up with a plan to ransom you. So we're going to sit there. They sent a note. Hey, I got this princess. This is what I want for ransom. Well, of course, every dragon hunter in 100 miles says, we will rescue the princess. And the princess kind of likes Daniel now. Hey, this is pretty cool. I like living here. You're treating me nice. Daddy's an ass. I don't want to go back to my kingdom. We are all good. This is what we're going to do. We're going to work you up a reputation. So they worked up a reputation. Hey, princess, being held hostage. Dragon hunters, come up to catch the dragon. Well, the princess sets the trap, leads the way. Daniel comes down, eats a couple of dragon riders' horses, scorches their camp, sends two dragon hunters, one of them being a prince himself, one of them just being some haughty-daughty lord, back to their little kingdoms, naked as the day they were born, because he done stole all their clothes, destroyed their camp, and they come running back. Now, Daniel is getting a reputation as a big, mean, fierce dragon. Daniel says, how do I sit there and make good on this? Because he also stole all their gold and their goodies, so he's getting a hoard now. He's doing pretty good. Then Daniel shows up with his princess to the Dragon King's court. And the Dragon King, Lawrence, he's a little upset. Well, he ain't had no princess snatching in 400 years. Now all of a sudden you come up and do this, and then you insult your mother, you insult your father, and you injure your brother. This ain't good. We don't like this. You, Dragon Daniel, are being banished from the Dragonlands. You must go somewhere else. You cannot stay here in the Dragonlands. And Daniel's trying to figure out what the heck did I do wrong? All I did was steal a princess, which is in the Dragon Handbook of #1 things to do. But the Dragon King didn't see it that way, and he was upset that Glenn got hurt. Glenn's supposed to be a big guy. Mother and Daddy got insulted, which, honor thy mother and thy father. Don't insult mommy and daddy. So Daniel and Millie, they fly off looking for somewhere else to live and start some different weird adventures. And the next story will be the first adventure of Daniel and Millie. Hope you've enjoyed this one. And just remember, there is more to come in the adventures of Daniel and Millie.